Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the COTA Speed Tour, and we have a special thing here. This is the Cube 3 Architecture TA2 Series qualifying in two different groups. There's the legend right there, Brent Cruz, last year TA2 champion.
Yeah, you know, what a phenomenal story. World Kart champion, phenom at just 15, picked up by TRD. So muted from the very get-go. They knew about this kid, and he arrived in Trans Am. We weren't that knowledgeable, but some people were about what this potential for this kid. He came together with Nick Tucker, who is really responsible for getting him to this point. And yeah, he rolled last year, just absolutely rolled it. He was brilliant, and he continues to be, and he's been noticed, and now he's going up through the ranks, doing truck racing, doing you know,
late model. I think he's a late model champion.
Yeah, he still does quite a lot of dirt because that's where he started, of course. Nice feud looking down on the pre-grid. Got a huge field here. This is such a big event for TA2, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got a lot of cars here. We've got 43 TA2 cars here in the field. This first group is going to be 19 cars. We've got Thomas Annunziata, Tristan McKee, Rafa Matos, Nathan Hearn, Brent Cruz, Josh Hurley, Ben Mayer, Evan Slater, Austin Green, Thomas Merrill, Jake Drew, Adrian Lostovsky, Carson Quapple, Misha Goikenberg is back. Misha Goikenberg is back. I did the Jonathan Green there.
You did, Goikenberg.
Adam Andretti, Eric Caton, Boris Said Jr., Jordan Anderson, and Vince Apple from Las Vegas, Nevada. Racing was Silver Hair Racing, and I want to say something. Laura Hull pulled me aside yesterday and said, hey, Silver Hair is going to be back in 2025 in even bigger and better ways. And I said, what does that mean? She says, I can't tell you right now, but it's super exciting.
That's a tease.
I know, but a little bit, you know, that's what it is. The end of the season, we got to start talking about things like that. But we are hearing from Tim Richter that we're going to start to release cars. And Thomas Annunziata, who won here last year, kind of out of nowhere, and really running for everything. And then we've got, not only do we have the national championship, we've got the young guns we're talking about, we've got the Western Championship, we've got the Pro-Am Championship, just all inside this Cube 3 Architecture TA2 Series.
Thomas Annunziata is going to be double dutying because he's also doing TA, and he's been trying to sort of learn the TA world because he's new to it, but he's been fast in it. So he's going to have a 15-minute gap as the second group go out after his group. So that should give him enough time to get sorted for the TA run.
They come through here, the Bennett Bridge Hall section, about to go out to qualifying. Qualifying here at COTA is very important. It's probably not the most important track that we go to, like a Lime Rock where it's super important. But like we've seen in 2022, you know, when we did our pre-show, Jonathan, we counted Thomas Merrill out. We didn't even really talk about him. But then he won the race, and then he won the championship. And he's kind of in that situation this time. Yeah.
So it's never say never at Trans Am, that's for sure. We've learned that over the years.
Adam Andretti in that Ultimate Headers car. Jake Drew with Silver Hair Racing in Cube 3 coming through the stadium section. Jake Drew doing really well. One of the three that are still in contention for the Young Guns, $20,000 cash tomorrow night at our banquet. Huge deal for Jake Drew because we've been following along, and his grandparents were with us at VIR. They put a second mortgage on their house just to get Jake Drew here. So that could really help Jake Drew and Silver Hair out if he were able to win the Young Guns. But then Ben Mayer and Thomas Annunziata are right there with him. But there is our championship points leader, the most winning man in the TA2 Series, is Rafa Matos.
Yeah, Rafa, I've been watching the times in, you know, they've had some testing times, and Rafa hasn't really showed. But that doesn't surprise me because I think he just holds his powder. There's nothing to gain out of overkilling it in testing, and so the likes of the youngsters like Thomas Annunziata and Tristan McKee, and he's another phenom, you know. We haven't talked too much about him. Tristan was making a name for himself at 12 in the dirt scene and breaking all the records there like Brent Cruz. So here's another phenom on the way up. Great to see also Nathan Hearn here.
Yeah, Nathan Hearn all the way from Australia, who had a very good showing, finished 4th here a couple of years ago in his first time with us. But Tristan McKee, the reason he's in TA2 now is because he turned 14.
I know.
And he's just been sitting there waiting to get in here. He did the All-Star race with us just a couple months ago when he was 13, but VIR was the first race that he could race because he turned 14. Now, we're looking at Rafa Matos. Rafa Matos, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but I think he knows that he gave away the championship in 2022 to Thomas Merrill, and he is not going to let that happen again. I think that's what he's thinking about. He knows how to win championships, 2-time TA2 champion, the most winning driver in TA2. But there's still that mathematical chance, and how crazy would that be as Annunziata goes off there?
Yeah, just a little bit too wide, but he's okay. And you can see they haven't got a lot of time, Ben. You know, with 2 splits like this, you know, it's really not a lot of time to get it done, is it? There's your championship at the moment. Rafa Matos leads with over 1,000 points, but Thomas Merrill at 960 can stop him.
Yep. Yeah, mathematically it is possible, and we can't count it out because we saw this happen just a few years ago.
And look at it between Ben Mayer and 5th. Very close indeed. And whoa, Larry by Rafa. We're on board with Jake Drew now as he comes into 20. Very wide indeed there.
Now that is not track limits. There are track limits here at COTA, but that is not one of the corners where there are track limits.
This?
And I don't believe that is either. It's the S's.
Here's your young guns. Thomas Annunziata winning that at the moment, but it's nip and tuck. As you can see, Jake Drew could beat him, and Ben Mayer is still in the hunt for that, as is Boris Said Jr. So it's going to be an almighty finish to that one too. And like you say, 20,000 up for grabs. So at the top of the board at the moment on a 2:11.089 is the man and former champion Thomas Merrill from Salinas, California. Nathan Hearn second quickest at 2:11.2, so only a couple of tenths, in fact less than 2 tenths, 0.170 off that time. And Carson Quapple, who now is making a name for himself in stock cars, has been well known there for a while, but coming to Trans Am this season and last season. And Jake Drew up in 4th place. Rafa Matos currently 5th. Brent Cruz 6th. Annunziata 7th. Lostowski, the man from New York, in 8th. Ben Mayer, another youngster coming up who started making a name for himself at 15. How about that for a drone shot?
That is awesome. I love that. I love the low shots, but I'm thinking now is they're going to start doing their flyers right here because the tires are warmed up. But Thomas Merrill might have tried to put in a fast one there at the beginning just because anything can happen, and there is a car off at 9.
Yeah. So where are your track limits then? Because everybody's abusing very much so turn 20 and 19.
Turn 20 and 19 are not. It's coming through the Cube 3 architecture.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I did see that in the driver's briefing. You cannot go over the Cube 3. You can't have all 4 wheels over the second white line, right?
Yep. And I've put
so that's where that's okay where he was there.
Yeah, we put up our signage, and if they hit that signage, they're out of bounds.
As you say, you've got to put a marker in. You've got to put a benchmark in because Merrill's being smart here. As Hearn goes to the top with a 2:10.6. And Hurley Burley, look at that. Josh Hurley's followed him in with a 2:10.7. They're the first two. Now another man in the 2:10s. And that is Thomas Merrill as he hits the front again. So the time's dropping dramatically, just 0.040 between the 2 top runners at the moment. Merrill on the provisional pole with Hearn alongside him.
And the points are so close that Merrill, I think Merrill has to be at the top of the board to keep it in mathematically, but there's other things that can happen.
Yeah,
but he wants to get the fastest lap. He wants to get every point he can get here this weekend.
Is it 1 or 3 points?
3 points for pole.
So, yeah, that's an important 3 points that he needs. Carson Quapple's just rained on that parade. Look at that. 2:10.4, so just 0.124 faster than Merrill as we look at Cruz. Here is Thomas Merrill. And here's Austin Green as well in the 89, the familiar colors.
And looking at the body language of that car, he is not on his flyer.
No, not at all.
So Thomas has put in the time that he thinks he wanted to put in.
So do you do a push, slow push flow type thing?
I don't know, because I think you want to save your tires too.
Yeah, that's the other point. You've got to run the tires too, so you don't want to be going round and round and round. Tristan McGee, the youngster we met or talked about earlier, he's in 9th at the moment, just ahead of Ben Mayer. That'll be a good battle. Cruz is 11th. Austin Green, who I just saw in the 89, is 12th. Evan Slater, great to have him back as we go on board with Lostowski. Lostowski looking for a better lap. He's in 8th at the moment with a 2:11.1, and just coming through the stadium section, coming through 14 now. What a couple of years, Adrian Lostowski. We've literally seen him become a world-class driver in front of our eyes, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been unbelievable. And just a big part of our paddock. Yeah.
From Brooklyn in New York. And that's what he says his shop is. He said, it's the only one there. I said, I'll bet. It's not the sort of place you expect to see a car shop preparing race cars, is it? Middle of New York.
And he's always wearing like DC shoes and riding his BMX bike around the paddock.
I know, it's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Out of 20 he comes. Let's see if he improves this time. He was 8th. We'll cross the line now. Nope, does not improve on that one.
Jonathan, if you don't mind, I think I'm going to go into pit lane because it's about to, I think cars are about to start coming in.
All right, go for it, my friend. Tune in and let us know what the latest is if there's any problems. Misha Goldberg in 16th place, Eric Hayton 17th. And obviously there is another group to come. So the guys who are down in 15 through 23, from this is 19. So Vince Apple is, if you like, on the bubble. It's not that they get thrown out, but there are another group coming out, and they will be challenging the likes of Apple and Anderson and Hayton. And Adam Andretti, sadly, down in 17th position to try and get further up the grid. So there's a bit of a hurry up now for, there is Adam Andretti in the 41. Just going through was Carson Quapple there in the 17. I was watching him race in Xfinity not that long ago, so busy schedules for these guys. Quapple the man at the moment with the 10.4 at the moment, 2:10.4. He comes out of 11. He's not getting any assistance, that's for sure, so this is on merit. Could try to work with either a mate or a teammate to try to get a slipstream and try to get a really special lap in before it's all over. But right now, Carson Quapple here in this number 17 Franklin Road car. I saw Ken Thwaites earlier in the day. It's been a great success story for he and his team too, now running the Dreesy team as well. M1 race cars. And it's great to have Cube 3 also involved. I spoke to Nick Middleton, who is effectively the man leading the charge for Cube 3 here in Trans Am, and really pleased with the amount of youngsters that we've managed to encourage to come here on their way to the next step in their careers. And while of course we want to make Trans Am a destination to come for the rest of you racing, we always love it when a youngster 15, 16, 17 comes in, shows us what he's got, and then goes on to NASCAR, to IMSA, to, well, even back to Formula racing if they want to. But we've been really blessed with some fantastic talent. But we've also captured and kept some really good talent like Rafa Matos and Thomas Merrill. And I think with those two particularly, when Nathan Hearn as an Australian champion comes here, he knows that he wants to win, and he hasn't had a win yet. He got a 4th, as Ben mentioned. Nathan Hearn, when he first arrived here a few years ago, and his debut in Trans Am here. And back with Thomas Merrill, can he do something? He really needs the points here. He really needs the pole. So with the clock ticking down, we're down now to what, just under 3 minutes. So he's going to probably get this lap finish and maybe get one more in. But Merrill could really do with the pole today. The points do matter. Some 86 points, I think it is, the difference, but there's so many points available. That was a little too wide. He won't be happy with that. Yeah, there's so many points available for a race win. That includes fastest lap and most laps led, and of course the pole itself. Well, this is a very leery attempt by Merrill. He's running out of grip, I think. But he's not helping himself because he's getting sideways, he's going wide. It doesn't look that would be as fast a way round, but we'll see. Into 18 he comes. He really is pushing that car, and it looks like it might have a problem of some sort because it's just not doing what he wants it to do at the moment. But he's trying. Give him that. That's one thing I can tell you about Thomas Merrill. You'll get 110%. So he crosses the line now, and he does not improve. In fact, that was a 2:12 compared to his 2:10.5. Now, he's got to go for it here. He's got 1:42 left on the board, so this is pretty much it. Got to make it happen now, Tommy. But he's slowing down, so that's about the best he can do, and a front row start will have to suffice, and so the points for pole are not on. Brent Cruz does his fastest lap. He goes up to 5th at 2:10.6, so it's pretty incredible. We've got 7 drivers all in the 2:10s before we drop to a 2:11.0 from Rafa Matos in 8th, then Lostowski 9th, and Tristan McKee in 10th position. But that's pretty impressive. Brent Cruz just popping into 5th in that last lap for him. Nunziata up to 4th. Nathan Hearn drops to 3rd. He's behind Merrill and Quapple. That's your front row. Quapple and Merrill, a row 2 of Hearn and Nunziata. Can anybody do anything in this last minute? We're on board with Jake Drew, but he too is not on a flyer. Remember, another 15-minute session, but that is the slower cars for practice, so we're not expecting anybody to challenge for the pole, but you never say never. Conditions change. Certainly from 19th down, and that's where Vince Apple is. Jordan Anderson 18th, and Adam Andretti 17th. Misha Goikberg in 16th. We're all sort of under pressure now from the next group, so to see if they can improve on their times, but it's very impressive. All the way down to Evan Slater in 13th position, a 2:11.7. So less than a second between the top men. So nothing between them. Really, really impressive. Tristan McKee crosses the line, stays 10th. And in comes Jake Drew. Like I said, he wasn't on a flyer. The clock has ticked down to 0. So anybody who is on a flyer now could change. But I don't think anybody's going to do anything at this point. It's going to be Carson Quapple, pole position for this race. And that's going to make things very interesting indeed. And also, the fact that Rafa Matos is only qualified 8th, which doesn't really matter, and I don't think it'll bother Rafa. I think he learned last time out, as Ben says. He lost a championship to Merrill in 22, and I think maybe he was being a little too aggressive, and this time he's going to say, you know what, I only need to get some decent points, and I got this. And Jake Drew comes into the pits. Good run by him. Takes 7th overall. And that concludes our first 19 cars of qualifying. And the second group will be out very soon indeed. And don't forget, we're staying with this because we've also got qualifying for TA and GTs after this. There is Carson Quapple, and Ben is down there trying to get a word. As soon as he gets out, we'll have a word with him. And of course, Carson Quapple with the Cube 3 logo on the hood, so that'll please the sponsors for sure. Let's see if we can get in there. Ben, head down to you.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. I'm here at the pits with Carson Quapple. As he gets out of the car, I'll talk to Kyle. Kyle, Scott Lagacy's been telling me for years this kid's got all the talent. We've seen him up front. We've seen him with us at Road America, all different kinds of tracks. But, man, Circuit of the Americas, he's just locked in.
Yeah, Carson is really, really good. We brought a good car for him. I mean, there's a whole team effort. We had a motor hurt in the last practice a few hours ago, and everybody jumped in and joined it. And all we had to do is let Carson do his job.
Now, Carson, are you going to jump out or you want to stay in there? No, you don't. I don't want to do anything to jinx anything. He's going to stay in there and see what's going on because we've got another group coming out to qualify. But right now, you have pole position in the Cube 3 Architecture TA2 Series at Circuit of the Americas. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, it does for sure. I mean, we've had a pretty good car all weekend, really. I didn't really get much testing coming in here, so for us to be fast like this is pretty exciting. And like Kyle said, we had a motor expire on us last practice. We only got one lap in on sticker tires, so kind of didn't really know what to expect, I guess, coming from old tires. But Scott and the whole team, the whole Chevrolet group, really brought a fast car, and hopefully we can keep it out front.
Nice. And keeping it very tight, you know, just by tenths of a second with Thomas Merrill right now, I think P2. Unbelievable. But Jonathan, I'm going to give it back to you. I'm going to join you in the booth for this next group, and then I'll come back out here.
Great stuff, Ben. Thank you very much indeed. Well done, Carson Quapple. An excellent pole position. Not easy to do with the competition at hand. Merrill needing that pole position, but not getting it, sadly. And Quapple doesn't care. He wants to carry on making his career as best he can, and it's Chevy on pole. Roll him in and roll him out. And here's the ultimate headers car of Adam Andretti making his way back to the pit lane, and that's not a truck stuck there. They just go back way to the support paddock, as we call it. And that is where all of Trans Am is parked, in here. So it's nice to ride with Adam. Won't be the most exciting to be 17th, Adam. We know he's better than that, but hasn't done too much TA2 racing this year. It's been more about TA for him, but he is able and quite capable of doing both, and has done sometimes in a weekend. Had a win in TA at Road Atlanta earlier in the year on his birthday of all things, so that was a big celebration. Burton's first victory in that rally chassis. Fantastic, really, really good. That Burton chassis. And there's your downtown shot, and the ever-changing world that is Austin, Texas. That one that you see on the right is where I used to live, and that was a high building there. And between that shot and what you're seeing out there is the airport, of course. Austin now one of the top 10 cities in America, population-wise as well. So San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, the corridor of some 80 million people.
And you know, your theme here, like Portland, is keep Austin weird. And I got to tell you, the people have kept to that assignment. Everybody has read the pamphlet, and they are keeping it weird.
Oh,
I
Ben,
like that.
You have no idea. You can be in a commentary box somewhere, and somebody will have painted nails.
I know, it's the weirdest thing. Yeah, and I didn't think about that, but, you know, when I hold a microphone, you can definitely see my red painted nails from two-time champion Amy Ruman because of a stupid dare I said at VIR.
We did have a lovely lady from Uruguay, one of our racers, Meta Caceres, and I just wondered what on earth she must be thinking when you kept turning to her with your painted nails and asking her questions. And she had the same color as well.
And that was the weird thing, too, because I said, we're both such big fans of yours, and then I've painted my nails to match her. She must be like, okay, you need to stay 500 feet away from me at all times. But we've got a great group
Here they
now.
come.
This is another group of TA2 cars, and a great group because it's the Pro-Am, but also the Western Championship. And so I said provisionally Carson Quapple because you cannot count out the Barry Bowes,
Yeah,
the
good point. Yeah.
Kyle Kellys, the Michael LaPaglia, the Tim Barbers. They could come in and be spoilers to this because now we've put Pirelli rubber down. The temperatures are dropping, and anything can happen.
Yeah, good point. And I was mentioning that Adam Andretti in 17th will be a little bit concerned because he, John Anderson, Vince Apple are the last three in that first group. And I'm sure that Jared Odrick would like that. John Atwell, Jim Guthrie from the West Championship. So there's all some good pedalers out there who are all capable of challenging that first group to get further up the board.
So we've got Barry Bowes, John Atwell, Sam Corey, Tom Sheehan, Tim Carroll, Keith Prochuk, Jared Odrick, J.C. Monet in a brand new car, Michael LaPaglia, who is currently leading the Western Championship, Robert Sapato, Tim Barber, Kyle Kelly, Ty Young, Doug Winston, Marie Zaccarelli, who is also from Brazil and a friend of Rafa Matos, Bob Accardo Jr., who has Make-A-Wish Foundation on the hood of his car, and we've got Jackson with Make-A-Wish Foundation here with us this weekend, and we as the Trans Am Series are going to do everything we can to make sure it is the best weekend of Jackson's life, and the whole paddock has basically adopted this kid, and I absolutely love that, and we're going to have more to come on that in tomorrow's show.
I love Make-A-Wish.
And then we've got, yeah, it's the best, Lonnie Hostetler, Victor Chopla with Coolbox, Jim Gallagher, Jim Guthrie, Matt Gray, Brian Schiebel, John Buckshot Schweitzer, and Matthew Rivkin also with Coolbox.
Buckshot's not his name.
Well, it is. That's his nickname, and it's on the side of his car. And he took 0-0 from Jared Odrick because 0-0 looks like looking down the barrel of a shotgun, double-barrel shotgun. There's Barry Bowes doing really well in the Pro-Am and the Western Series this year.
So here is your Pro-Am Challenge scores at the moment. Barry Bowes has had a sensational season, the best of his career. 9:34, he leads Tommy Sheehan, who's going to be hard-pressed to beat that. Keith Prochuk is third. That's a possibility. There's not much between them. And Jared Odrick, what a season he's had. I remember talking to him at Sebring, and we were talking about the difference between being a professional athlete in football and being a professional athlete in car racing, and he said, you know, I'm so used to having my own shell, my own body as my sort of tool to get around, and he said, and I don't feel comfortable in a car because I can't get my head around it. I can't move it the way I want to, like my feet.
Yeah, but super competitive, and then we watched him early on in the season. He's trying to cut weight because he was a defensive lineman in the NFL. And now when he gets out of the car and takes off his race suit, the guy's like chiseled out of stone. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and that doesn't help. It doesn't do any harm that he's also a quite famous now producer and director and actor. Has been in films with the likes of Sylvester Stallone. His name just...
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh, just gets better and better.
Well, Barry Bowes there up ahead. First out into the Bennett Bridge Hall section. Barry Bowes in an M1 car this season. He's running for Pro-Am and the Western Championship. So we've spent almost every weekend together, Barry Bowes and I.
Yeah, and Barry Bowes, you'll correct me on this, he's from Austin. ASIO Data are based here in Austin, but he's now moved.
He lives in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
There you go. Okay. So does he... Well, not commute, but he's not full time at ASIO, or
he's a pilot, so he can fly back and forth.
Okay.
And, you know, the whole Texas and Tennessee Volunteers and the Orange Tees, so the two states are pretty tied together.
Yeah, I like it. Well, you sent us that fellow to fight at the Alamo, didn't you?
Yeah, Davey Crockett.
That's it.
That's why they're the Tennessee Volunteers, and that's why both Texas and Tennessee are orange and the same team.
Oh. So you learn something here. I mean, you hang out with Ben, you never know what you're going to learn. He dresses funny, but he's all right.
Barry Bowes coming up the hill, and I believe that's Jordan Anderson behind him, but I can't find it.
Well, Barry Bowes' first effort at 2:49, and interestingly enough, that's very close to Vince Apple, so I think he might just beat that in his second lap because that was just his first lap flying with 10 minutes to go. And like I said before, you haven't got a lot of time to make a mistake and come back from it. Here's Keith Prochuk.
Keith Prochuk is right now convinced that he's going to do the whole season with us next year. He's having Mike Cope Race Cars build him another car, and he is fully into this with HP tuners. It's great to have Keith Prochuk at all of our races. One of the first people I met that kind of helped welcome me into the Trans Am paddock was Keith Prochuk.
You know, it's the funniest thing. I saw him in Miami, or he texted me in Miami and said, hey, it's going to be a big party tonight. We're all going out with McLaren. And I was like, oh. And I didn't really click until I realized, of course, his partner is Mr. Piastri, not Oscar, his father. So that's
HP
nice.
Tuners. It's a huge company out of Chicago. There's Michael LaPaglia, currently our points leader in the Western Championship. And Keith Prochuk, I believe, third in our Pro-Am Championship.
Yeah, there's a lot to be decided this weekend. And like you said earlier, this qualifying session could prove to be vital. I was just saying while you were waiting for the interview that, Rafa is, provisionally 8th. But I think that's him heeding your warning that he doesn't need to be at the sharp end. He doesn't need to be fighting for a win. He just needs to take the championship and stay out of trouble. love it when the flames fly out the side of these cars.
I do too, but we are losing light.
Yes, we are.
We are running a little bit late. We apologize for that. But, you know, things happen on the track. And so it makes for some really good photos and images. So we like that.
That's a nice shot coming through, 16, 17. And then, as you can see, you have to sort of slingshot around to 18.
But Corey right now in the PA, in the Pro-Am, over Barry Bowes.
You know, we've been talking about how the smoothness of the track, and there was a big bump out of 18 a few years ago. That's gone. The bumps coming up the hill to 1 have gone. The one big bump at 2 is gone. But I was talking to Landon Matriano Lim, and he said there's a big bump now that wasn't there at 3.
There's Michael LaPaglia, that red, white, and blue Ford with Papini's Garage.
He's been running that color scheme for what, 3 or 4 years now?
And then he's running his SGT car with us tomorrow as well. So he's going to be qualifying in 2 different efforts. But right now, he is our current Western Championship leader. A little bit too fast for Elliott to keep up with there.
A little bit. Oh, just throw some raw dust on the track. That's just what we need. 7 minutes to go then. Precious times now. Still Quapple, Merrill, Hearn, and Anciata and Cruz, your top 5 for the race. And then we're looking down at 26. Has there been any change from 19? Yes. Goikberg's got into 18th. Eric Caton is 17th now. And Andretti drops to 19th overall, as the Barry Bowes combination has got to 15th. So as expected, as you mentioned, Barry Bowes has dropped some of the first group down further. And that's a good lap to 15th. Sam Corey in 14th. And they're starting to make some inroads now. But nobody, I don't think, will challenge the likes of top 10 anyway.
But Tim Barber right now, the other one that's really hunting for this Western Championship with the car that we're seeing right here, is qualified 23rd. And I'm not seeing LaPaglia up ahead of him. So hopefully LaPaglia is on his flyer. But the Tim Barber, Michael LaPaglia kind of rivalry, the friendly rivalry that we've seen on the Western Championship this year, might heat up here at COTA.
Take it. That's for sure.
You're going to have a lot to talk about with Scott Goodyear in the booth tomorrow.
Oh, yes. Poor man will be exhausted because he's had to deal with all the single-seaters as the race director, and there's plenty going on. Boy, did they go wide at 19.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure they should have had non-track limits there. It just seems like it's almost too easy. Look at this. Trouble is, if you go too wide, you're going to hit that grass.
Yep.
And that's, we've seen people do that, and it really upset the car.
So LaPaglia, I saw at 27th.
John Atwell's got up the board too. He's 17th. And now Andretti drops to 21st. He started this session. Obviously, he's not in the car now, but he started the session in 17th, and he's dropped down to 21st because the second group have had improvers like Atwell, like Barber, like Corey, and Barry Bowes. Boris Seth Jr. also dropping down. He's 18th. He'll be really disappointed with that. So will Austin Green, one of our top rookies, and down in 12th for the last race here.
There's Tim Barber. And Tim Barber, this is kind of a neat story, was the owner of the team that Thomas Merrill started racing with us in the Western Championship. So Tim Barber kind of helped bring Thomas Merrill, and Richard Deal helped bring Thomas Merrill into the TA2 Championship. And now Tim Barber's out there running. And Tim Barber is a very talented, accomplished race car driver.
Key story. Yeah, the West Championship has increased in prestige, I should say, in the last few years. And I noticed that Nitro this week, Nitro Motorsports, put out a press release naming several young drivers that they're going to take West Coast racing in Trans Am, and I think that's going to be the funnel, isn't it?
It is so much fun out there. It's a little bit more relaxed, and I think if you're going to develop a 14, 15-year-old driver, you might want to start them in the Western Championship, and maybe you come over here and do some of the Pro-Am stuff, but I think that's a pretty good path. And then the likes of Tim Barber or Michael LaPaglia, Kyle Kelly, Tim Carroll, they're always willing to help out any of the drivers that are with them in the Western. So it's kind of the competitiveness of Trans Am, but the camaraderie and the family atmosphere of an SVRA paddock.
But this is a points counting West Championship race.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So what
they're
you
in
could
their
do,
own race.
Yeah, what you could do is you could run a youngster, and then if he's good enough, kind of like Michel Abate did, if he's good enough, jump him into the National for the final one.
Yeah. It's a shaping up with about 3:45 left to go. I'm going to jump out of the booth here in just a little bit.
Yep.
But let's see who in this group.
Keith Prochuk does improve. He's gone to 17th with a 2:12.8 just a moment ago. That's 17th, just behind Barry Bowes. Tom Sheehan is now 18th. So that's bad news for Boris Said, Eric Caton, Misha Goikberg, and Adam Andretti. They're dropping down the board as these guys get faster and faster. This is going to be a tough race.
Yeah. But we've got in 14th, Sam Corey, our first in Pro-Am.
Yep.
And then at 15th, right now is Tim Barber, our first in TA Championship.
Yeah, that's right, Tim Barber. So you've got, the delineation. I see it.
Victor Chopla there in that Cool Box Dodge Challenger, our only Mopar in the field, sadly.
It's going to be a raucous sound as they head on a rolling start past that main grandstand tomorrow. Looking forward to that. That's going to be fun, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd like to see these 43 cars going up in the Mission Foods Turn 1. There's Maury.
Is this the biggest field we've had?
Zaccarelli. No, a couple of years ago we had like, I want to say 58.
You think there must be a limit there somewhere?
Yeah, there is an FIA rule that there's so many cars per mile.
Okay.
I think it is.
Prochak on his way then. Can he improve? He's currently sitting 17th. He's chasing a 2:12.8 that he set.
Ty Young on Sabato.
Yeah, that's not where Ty Young needs to be. Bounces over the curbs at 11. And lost a lot of time there.
I see Ty Young on commercials all the time.
For?
He's his own wealth investment.
Okay.
Annuities, and he always does a minute-long commercial on CNBC when I'm watching my stock reports or Fox News or Fox Business.
That's cool.
He's got such a great speaking voice. I wish he would do my voiceovers for me because he's got a great. And then also the other thing, if you watch the show Ozark, his dogs are in that show. His dogs are famous. He's got 2 dogs that are the bad guy in Ozark, the show. Those are his dogs.
Well, I'm just missing Michelle Abate's dog. That's my favorite.
Yeah, Moxie. She was with us a couple weeks ago at Spring Mountain.
I hope she's coming to Las Vegas Formula One and bringing him.
All right, who do we have here? Oh, Kyle Kelly, one of our great Trans Am Western drivers, the number 80. I think he's 3rd in the points in the Western Series. So I'm going to run out to pit lane and see if we can talk to some drivers.
Yeah, clock's ticking down. Less than a minute to go in the second group of our Trans Am TA2 qualifying for the final race of the year. And usual suspects at the front. Carson Krappel with the pole position of 2:10.4. Ty Young tongue-tied a little as he has to let the faster cars go through on a slow-down lap. Thomas Merrill will start alongside him, and Thomas Merrill, the only man who could stop Rafa Matos, and it's another showdown here at COTA between the two of them, as it was in 2022, which Merrill won against all odds, but did it. Thomas Annunziata, definitely one of the favourites for the race win. And Nathan Hearn, could this be the one? I was reading an article about Nathan the other day saying, yeah, he's got unfinished business. He's been racing in the States and all sorts of different cars and buses and you name it. So he's had a rare old time as Nathan, a multiple Trans Am champion in Australia and New Zealand in the Trans-Tasman Championship from last year. I was there for that. There's Tim Barber. But, Nathan Hearn yet to have a win in TA2 in America. But, boy, has he come close, and he's 3rd on the grid for this weekend. So get up early, Australia, and cheer him on. Clock has ticked down to 0. Barry Bowes improves to 2:12.0, and that takes him to 16th position. Behind him, Keith Prochek, Tommy Sheehan right there. Atwell 19th now, and that drops Boris Said Jr. to 20th, Caton to 21st, Goikberg to 22nd, and Andretti to 23rd. And I'm going to assure you that Adam Andretti, with the quality of driver he is, this shows you how tough the competition is when Andretti is struggling to stay in the top 20. But, to be fair, he's not had a lot of TA2 action of late, and he will be a factor. Gets that set up as he wants, he'll come through, that's for sure. been a funny day. It's been, weather-wise anyway, we had a little bit of rain, not a great deal, but a sort of downpour that greased the track up at about 1 p.m. And then we started off the day with very overcast and humid weather. And it's just opened up a little bit, and the clouds have got a little bit more puffy and higher now. And so it's a nice finish to the day, but it's been a struggle to get the grip and to understand how the track has changed over the day. But it's been a fascinating day. Great to see so many people here. I went out at lunchtime, and there was just hundreds of people doing the simulators, buying the merchandise, and that's what it's all about. And the SpeedTour definitely putting on a show here and taking on the Circuit of the Americas.
Good run there for him with a 2:12.081.
So let's take a look at how qualifying panned out. And as they headed out, this was the faster group. And of course, as you'd expect, championship leader, number 60, Rafa Matos. All eyes on the Concord American flag pole sponsored car. Annunziata, always a favourite for pole. The youngster came into the championship just a couple of years ago. And then the 15 of Nathan Hearn, who I was just talking about, the Australian, definitely in a good position in third. Thomas Merrill will start on the front row, but he really needed the points to close the gap a little bit. But this man, the number 17, Carson Quapple, said, no, I'm quicker by 0.124. So in a moment, we'll head down to Ben Sissel, which we'll hopefully hear from the top man in that last group. But of course, we've got one more qualifying session to come, and that, of course, is TA and GT. Nice shot of Austin in the background there. And you can see the flights taking off from the Austin Bergstrom Airport. Let's take a look at the results then. This confirmation, Carson Quapple with Team SLR M1 race cars and the Chevrolet takes the pole. Thomas Merrill and the HB Tuners Cope race cars in second place. And it's the fast auto racing car of Nathan Hearn, hooking up, of course, with Lostowski and getting preparation from their team. Annunziata in fourth for the Bayshore Mortgage Criswell Ford Mustang. Then Brent Cruz for Nitro Motorsports. Josh Hurley, Jake Drew seventh. Rafa Matos in the Nitro Motorsports car in eighth. Adrian Lostowski for CMI Spot on Serve in ninth. And Tristan McKee in 10th. Then Ben Mayer in 11th. Austin Green 12th. Evan Slater, good to have him back, in 13th. Sam Corey 14th. Barber, Bose, Prochuk, Sheehan, Atwell, and Boris Said Jr. rounding out the top 20. Boris Said Jr., of course, representing HendricksCars.com. His father, player in the Hendricks field, and he has been wearing those colours ever since this season. We'll take a short break. We'll be back. One more qualifying session to come. Let's hope we get it in before the rain comes.
You've got a business to run, big and heavy products to ship, and customers who need them now. When you've got the right driver and the right equipment, you can bet on a spectacular result. Bennett understands complex logistics and puts the best team, the most time, and the latest technology into every customer relationship. So you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the race. Let us handle the rest.
Together, we can move anything.
Welcome back to the Circuit of the Americas, where, as you can see, we've got cars on track, and this is TA qualifying, and it'll also be GT qualifying, and that's XGT, GT, and SGT, and XGT. And here we go. We are ready to go racing. Gar Robinson, a favourite here, a former Trans Am champion. This is his home track. He always comes back for a one-off, and he's always competitive. Gar Robinson currently racing in IMSA. He also does Daytona and you name it. And he's a great character and a great racing driver. And doesn't race perhaps as much as a lot of the other guys, but whenever he's in a race car, he's got it. Chris Dyson, well, he was kind of denied. It's still open, but with a problem at VIR, Menard kind of put the championship to bed. There is a mathematical chance, you never say never, and he knows it, but he's still going for a fourth title, is Chris Dyson. Tommy Dreesy, currently third in the championship with 835 points, is third, and will stay there by the looks of things, because Amy Ruman is quite a gap to 745 in fourth. Adam Andretti in fifth position. Like I said, he's had more success in TA this year, including a win, and Keith Grant in sixth position as we go on board with the mighty Wally Dallenbach.
Two-time Trans Am champion Wally Dallenbach, back-to-back champion. So I was talking to him yesterday. He thinks there might be the longest gap between Rookie of the Year and TA driver. So he's really wanting to win because he thinks he could set a record for the Trans Am Rookie of the Year, I think in '83, and then he really wants to win here or any time in the next couple seasons because he thinks that would be the longest gap in motorsports. And he's
not a rookie. He
was a Rookie of the Year in '83 in Trans Am.
So is he trying to be a Masters of the Year?
No, he just wants to. He wants to win a Trans Am race.
Oh, I see.
In the dirt, and then he's followed by John DeGainer. Wally Dallenbach, he's an absolute legend. He has his hunting show. He's a longtime NASCAR commentator, also in the movie Talladega Nights with Ricky Bobby.
That's right.
As the announcer. So,
I didn't know he had a show.
Yeah, he's got a hunting show. Like a hunting travel show.
That sounds great. Here's the championship for him. Seventh at the moment, 250. Best finish second, as you mentioned, and just the one podium. So he does want to win, that's for sure. Go on board with him here, down the back straight.
And I'm sorry, I think he was Rookie of the Year '84, and then he won the championship '85-'86 with two different teams.
Well, Ultimate Headers have been a big backer of both he and Adam Andretti, and they have a lot to thank to Ultimate Headers, keeping them on the track.
And John Cloud, you can't forget John and Debbie Cloud.
Yeah, that's who is, of course, Ultimate Headers.
Coming through the Bennett Bridge Hall section, he looks relaxed in the car.
Yeah, well, he always does. That's the beauty of a real seasoned veteran. His speed does not affect him at all. It is a day in the armchair for him. Through 18, and you can take a much tighter line now without that bump there. Got to be careful here, though, especially with track limits. You can get too enticed to go wide here and get yourself in trouble. You'll see some people trying to make an arc, almost like another triple apex, from 19 through 20. So go wide and literally kind of arc it through there. Now you see the speed coming up. Big Red. Topping 160 at the fastest part. Now down through the hairpin, down to 40 miles an hour. Then through turn 2, here's Menard. Our first look at the championship leader, Paul Menard. And you talk about a guy with a storied history. Boy, how long has he been going?
Long time. And I was speaking with
everybody's struggling with
going through that dirt there.
Yeah. Here's the rain coming.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I think it's far enough away, where I don't think the wind is that strong where it's going to suddenly land here. But that, you never say never. Blink and the weather changes in Texas. I mean, we could do with the rain, I can assure you. Yeah, but Paul Menard, and of course we all know the Menard name. They're all looking themselves up in the air about the rain. But we know that is a synonymous name. In fact, his dad was here at one of the races this year. But Menard's
few of the races.
Yeah.
John's been at a lot of. I was talking to Paul. It's like a family affair. I've met his sister's been to a few races. His brother came to Mid-Ohio. His mom has come to a few races.
Well,
and then his kids, the kids' neighbors came to VIR. So it's a big family affair. And I was talking to Paul, and you know, he raced in NASCAR up until like, he also did the Car of Tomorrow, but he said he loved the stock cars right before the Car of Tomorrow, and this TA car, he said, is like a little bit better than that.
Okay, that's great to know.
But he won the Brickyard 400, I believe, in 2013.
Yeah,
in Indianapolis.
I know. I don't know what year, but I know he won the Brickyard 400 for sure. I've read that. So Annunziata out front, and yes, it is the same Annunziata who was in TA2. He's doing both. Robinson, Gar, that is, just behind him. Then Menard in third. Dollenbach, Yound, De Gainer, Dreesy, Dyson. Dyson with work to do. He's 1.2 seconds off the pole at the moment, but you know that Dyson will put a lap in with 8 minutes to go. But that rain is starting to worry a few people, because if it comes, it'll ruin anybody's lap, because you can't go quick in the rain, for sure.
No, but we've got Thomas Annunziata, and this kind of happened. Showtime Motorsports and Justin Marks put Connor Zilic in a TA car from a TA2. Then and he won outright, just crazy, just ran away. So then Brent Cruz wanted to do it. So Brent Cruz won in a TA car at Road America this year. And now Thomas Annunziata wants to be the next in that, now in this beautiful Weaver Concepts, Steal It, Mopar Dodge Challenger. That is Thomas Annunziata there, and look at those sparks coming from the titanium. Also with ultimate headers on the side of the car.
Yeah, interestingly enough, you know, this car is becoming, and I'm thinking in terms of, you know, historic cars, this is going to become a storied car because so many great drivers have driven it.
Yep.
Dollenbach's driven it, Boris Said has driven it, now this youngster Annunziata's driven it. Who else? Andy Lally?
No, but Kaz Gralla.
Kaz Gralla,
won
yeah.
at Road America in it the other
yes,
year.
Yeah. There you go. I knew there was a couple more. But, and of course, everybody, especially Boris Said, says a Poncho Weaver car is the best to be prepared.
You can see the marbles kind of forming up there. There's now I can't tell these cars apart. Which one's Dreesy? Which one's Don Yount?
It's not easy, is it?
And Keith Grant. But there is Thomas Annunziata coming in. He tried to do this with us at VIR with Claudio Burton.
Yeah, it didn't
and they were chasing some gremlins there, so it's cool to see him.
I forgot what he told me. I saw him and his father early in the weekend. Oh, look, there's some drops of rain on the windshield there.
Is that the peel away? I can't tell.
It's hard to tell, isn't it? I just thought those spots are sitting here.
I did too.
Here's your man, Chris Dyson.
Uh-oh, Gar Robinson.
Oh, look at that. Menard goes to the top. It's all changing quick. 2:03.8. Gar Robinson goes second. Chris Dyson goes third. They're all dropping in laps now with 6 minutes to go. I think they've got the hurry up on because of the potential rain forming in both the south and the north of the track. And with 6 minutes to go, all of them are trying to put in a lap. No, that's not rain yet because I can see these. That's just
the tearaways.
Yeah.
So Paul Menard at a 2:03.8. Gar Robinson, who won here last year in a 2:05.1. Gar Robinson racing with Riley, and he's doing the LMP2 program with Riley. But longtime Trans Am driver, really good friend of mine, and he's going to have a huge crowd here as we ride on board. And this is in dedication to Bob Riley, who just passed away just a few days ago.
Yeah, Wally lost his father last year too, and there's some good stories out there. We just lost Riley, and there was some nice tributes to him. But I'm counting 5 Trans Am champions out there with a potential in Menard as a 6th.
Yeah, you've got 2 with Ruman.
Yep.
You've got
Dreesy.
Dyson has 3, right? Dreesy. You got Dollenbach has 2. You got Ruman has 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've got 5, and then Robinson is a TA2 champion.
Yeah.
So you got 6.
Well,
plus
Menard's not champion yet.
Yeah, but that's plus Menard, isn't it? Or I'm not athletic enough to keep up. But Gar Robinson, 74 Ranch Resort. You can see him there. He looks comfortable in that car. Looks like that is a good car for him. But then Dyson now ahead of Gar Robinson with a 2:05, but then Menard's at a 2:03.
Yeah, it's changing quickly, isn't it? They've started to bang in some good times. It'd be really interesting.
And then
to see.
Gar just took it with a 2:04.
No, he stays second. Menard's got into the 2:03.8.
Yeah, I mean, he took it from Dyson. Sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
That's how my brain works this late in the day.
I know. We're all in the same boat, my friend. Been a long day, but a good day.
Uh-oh.
Now, why is Tommy going slowly at 15? Well, he's going back to speed.
Maybe he's trying to give him a little bit of a separation, and this might be his heater.
Yeah, good point.
The Mavs TV, Lucas Oil, Mission Foods, Dreesy advertising machine.
Yeah, you know, he's always ahead of the game, Dreesy. He works in the cell business in Hollywood, and yeah, he had Mav TV on that car way before we were live on Mav TV for the races. So yeah, smart move by him. They like him.
Yeah, the Rockin' Moroccan. You know, he may have been the one to kind of bring the attention of Mav TV to Trans Am.
Makes sense, yeah.
So we appreciate that. But if you've ever been to a movie theater and you've seen the big cardboard cutouts of coming attractions, that's Dreesy advertising.
So they do the cardboard cutouts?
They make the big cardboard cutouts of like coming attractions and the big like three-dimensional sculptures you see in the lobbies of movie theaters. And much, much more than that. As he comes through the Cube 3 S's, I just don't see how they can process information that quickly.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And, oh, Tommy, don't do that. Throw up the dust. That's where that dust is coming from. People are cutting that corner and it's throwing dust onto the track as he comes through 8. Now 9. And then over the hill and the crest at 10. Love that corner. Just touch the inside there. Fast as you can. And then brake. And that's nicely done by Tommy, but the clock is ticking down. Menard still the man to chase. And what a lap he put in there. He's 1.1 seconds. We never see that between the leaders. Yeah. Not that much anyway. I mean, yeah, half a second here, maybe 6/10, but over a second, it's really impressive from Menard. But he's on his game. He has been all year. And he did promise, do you remember at the beginning of the season, he dipped his toe a couple of times over the last couple of years. And then finally he said this year, you know what? I'm going to do a full season. Yeah. He's made it count, that's for sure.
I'm going to run down the pit lane, Jonathan.
Okay. Who are you going to get?
Save big money at Menards.
Yeah, of course. Get some master tools for us, will you? All right. So he's going to head off to talk to Paul Menard. We're going to stay with Tommy Dreesy in the Mission-sponsored, Lucas-sponsored car. And there is Paul Menard in that Master Force Tools. Car number 3, the green and black, has been synonymous with tracks at Trans Am's racing throughout the year, and every time he's gone to a track, some of them new that he's never raced before, he has come out on top. So it's been a spectacular year for Menard, the former NASCAR man, with many years at the front end and sharp end of NASCAR. I think something like over 300 races. Back with Dreesy. Can he improve? He needs to. Currently 5th. He'd love to be further up the board than that, but let's go on board as we come through 6 and 7. Just touching the apex there. Now starting to climb up the hill towards 8. Off the power again, just touching the side of the exit of 8. Then 9, just a flip across. Now 10. Drift to the left, just hit the apex there. Perfectly done by Tommy Dreesy. Now to the braking point, braking here as late as you dare, but don't miss the apex. You need the drive out here. Out of the gears he comes, up through the gearbox. Now over 100 miles an hour, he should get up to about 160. And he does hit just, way over 176 was the fastest he got before the braking point at 12, and now it's anchors on into 12, but Dreesy commits and does it well. Nice and smooth, beautifully done, into 13. Now it gets tricky because you want to go faster here in the stadium section, but you've got to hit your marks here through 14 now. Now the approach to 15. It's usually high in and then low out, and no, he's taken a low line, but actually that was a fast line through there. Nicely done by Tommy. Now it's the McConaughey. All right. 16, 17, and 18. And then heading down to the very tricky 19 coming up now. Still very fast this corner, as you can see, over 85 miles an hour. Hits his mark beautifully. And the last turn, turn 20, down to 50 miles an hour. And completes that lap. Nicely done on board with Tommy Dreesy. Sadly for him, it didn't improve, but he's already put in some good laps and he stays fit. That's good stuff, though, to be on board with him and enjoy that with him. That's the Rockin' Moroccan. at speed, and that'll do it. Let's head down to Ben Sissel, who has got our pole man, Paul Menard.
Well, thank you very much. I'm down here with the Master Force Tools, the Menards car, the Mustang, the 3GT team. And you can look, let's get a shot of this. Look at this. They're so close to winning this championship, but they are not counting it as anything right now. It's unbelievable to see. They've all got their game faces on, including this man right here who's just not getting out of the car. But Paul Menard with Gar Robinson, Chris Dyson, you had some good competition out there. Thomas Annunziata, but you are right now provisionally on the pole. How does that feel?
Gar's still out there, so it's not over till he takes the checkered, but super proud of these guys. You know, we're so close to the championship. We still have a little work to do on Sunday to make that happen, but obviously the car is super fast, and we're going down swinging.
Nice. We're going down swinging. We see here Gar Robinson coming in, so that basically means that Paul Menard, unless something happens at Tech, is our pole. So let's see if we can talk to Tony, who just loves being on camera. You know, we know that with 3GT.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, Tony Gentilozzi loves being on camera, but you're on pole here on the last race. Well, thank you. Last race here of the season, and everything is just going your way.
Again, we were trying to be conservative, but no one told Paul.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's not really how to do win a championship unless you're like, we want to win a championship. We also want the fastest lap. We also want pole. But, man, nice job for you guys.
We figured we'd finish it like we raced it all year.
I love it. Well, definitely consistent with the 3GT team. But you can see there's no celebrating here with this team. Now their focus is on winning the race tomorrow. So unbelievable. Nice job, you guys. Jonathan, I'm going to send it back to you in the booth.
Great stuff, and yeah, they've got their game faces on, as they should. Yeah, Gar Robinson was still out there when you went for the interview, so he's a bit nervous to celebrate, but Gar didn't improve, but he does start on the front row. There's the rain in the background. Boy, did we squeak past that somehow. Luckily, the wind wasn't so strong that it brought it over here, but it's going to head towards Austin, and I think there's going to be more rain to come, so... But a great day here at the Circuit of the Americas. We've got a full day still to come. And that includes our feature races of Trans Am and TA2. And of course, we've got all the gold helmet races still to come. There's Austin in the background, that rain heading that way. Good, I could water my plants, that'll be great. Oh. And of course, we've got one more session to come, and I'm wondering if they're going to get the rain because, well, it's sort of swirling around both sides, as you can see it in the distance there. And don't forget, we've got the GTs out in terms of XGT, SGT, GT. So they've got their qualifying session coming. And let's take a look at that last session, though, for the pole for TA, and it was a cracker.
Don't forget about the likes there of Ken Sutherland's Chris Evans.
Annunziata was out and about, getting used to TA. Chris Dyson still got a chance, mathematically, of winning the title and making it a fourth, but Gar Robinson will be a spoiler, as he always is. The local man from Austin, a former Trans Am champion, was on the money and taking a front row start, trying to get the pole away from this man in the number 3. But as it has been all season, they have been superb, and Menard is looking once again ever more like the champion. So, as you can see, the final group of the day are out on track, and this is our production-based cars, and that's tradition. If you're wondering how this all fits in with TA, XGT, SGT, and GT, well, this is how Trans Am, which started back in 1966, began, basically. It was a sedan champion or production-based championship. And so, therefore, that's what started the Pony Wars with Mustang versus Chevrolet versus Dodge versus, back then, Javelins and AMCs, you name it. And other manufacturers as well. But they kept the under 2.5-liter cars as well, and they would race in 4-hour races back then. We do 100 miles, and that's plenty, I can assure you. But back then when it started, and perhaps the heyday was the early 70s, from 1970 to 73, maybe 69 could be included on that. And we've got some great cars out here in the production class. The Audi R8 in action straight away. And this has been a closely fought championship. I had a chance to talk to Kaylee Bryson earlier in the day, who's already wrapped up the SGT championship. She did it in style at VIR. It was an impressive performance to take the title. And she is the second woman actually to win in SGT, but she has got a stunning record. She's raced in other series as well and been successful there. There's the Maserati with the graphics that we all love from a graphics company. And we've had 46's Scott Dollarhide now. That's the man I was mentioning. He's a local guy from Austin. He's racing for the first time this year in XGT, and Scott Dollarhide and his family ran a racetrack called Austin Driveway for many years here in Austin, so he is certainly proficient on this circuit. And that's a beautifully prepared car too, and he's definitely going to be looking to try to stay at the sharp end. Chris Coffey, David Hampton, it's a good field. Josh Carlson, the youngster, the young 18-year-old is out there. Lee Saunders, multiple champion in SGT in his Viper, loves that car. Kaylee Bryson, who I mentioned in her Corvette, she's out there too. Ken Sutherland. So we've got West Coast as well as National. Michael LaPaglia in here. Now come the raindrops. The worst possible scenario that they could have now. It depends how much they get, but as you can see, it's starting to fall on our camera. And as you can see, the mechanics and the engineers looking up in worry at what is about to unfold, because at least the drivers will know. They'll get it on their windshields, and they'll know that it's going to get dicey out there. As we look at David Hampton, who's had a busy weekend. He was in the IGT races earlier in the day. But the weather's been so weird. It's been like, it never really properly rained at lunchtime today. It sort of drizzled like this, and I think it's going to do the same. Quick wipe the camera. But already you can see when they wipe it, it's getting, it's nasty, it's starting to get a little bit dicey. I don't think we're going to see too many fast times. Even Ben's run in, and I think his nails are running because of the wet. So he's come to dry them off.
Well, I tell you, I was just out there, and it started raining right when the TA cars took off, and it is raining harder than you can see right here on camera. It is actively raining out there, at least on this front straight that I can confirm because I'm wet.
Yeah, there you go. That's why we sent you out there.
Yeah, exactly. Now, these XGT and SGT cars are really going to struggle, but David Hampton, you know, in that Audi R8 that's out there, they might be setting some fast laps.
Well, David Hampton has been busy.
Yeah.
This weekend. Yeah, the wipers are on. Now, there's just 10 minutes left in this session. Do you think, from what you experience, it's going to get worse, or it's just going to stop? It's like it doesn't look like it's raining here.
I don't know. You look out the window of our booth, and there's blue skies out there with some clouds. But, you know, we saw that storm burst coming in the other shot, so I think that's what we're experiencing right now.
No kidding. So, curious times then as we get our qualifying in for the rest of the field.
So Dollarhide in that Audi R8 should have a little bit of an advantage just because that car does really well in XGT in the rain.
Yeah.
But then Will Rogers, a very accomplished driver in one of the Chris Evans cars that we see there going up ahead down the main straight. Then McAleenan in that Lamborghini in XGT. And then Josh Carlson in SGT doing really well.
Yeah, it's been a good year for Josh. Still a youngster, but making his way. And I love to see youngsters doing this form of racing because, like you said before, it's a great environment, this paddock, to learn in. And, you know, the pressure's not as much as it would be if you were doing Miatas or you were doing, you know, a one-make series or something that, you know, a single-seater series where the pressure is on all the time.
I have to give it up for my friend David Hampton because he could have run this year and won the GT Championship and the Western Championship, and in the same season won these SGT, the Super GT Championship, had he run Super GT Western Championship here. But he decided instead he wants to compete for GT with his friend Chris Coffey and Colin Cohen. So he kind of put aside winning a championship to just be able to compete with his friends out here at COTA. So we applaud that.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's Chris Evans, the builder of these beautiful XGT cars.
Yeah, we saw his mechanics, all of the Evans t-shirts on. There they are.
And the pink headphones, that's a little out of...
Nice touch. Borrowed them from Chelsea.
Just keeping Austin weird. I like that.
Yeah. Well, you've done your bit this weekend. Well done.
And they're from the Portland area, so they're keeping up.
Oh, well, they're kindred spirits then. Yeah, that's fine.
And they're not texting, ladies and gentlemen. They're looking at what is an app called Race Monitor to see the times.
Which you can do too.
Yeah, they're not super bored on pit lane. They're actually doing their job and looking at times and reporting times and intervals.
Well, I've got a feeling that Dollarhite's time may stay, given the greasy track that we've got. He got that in just before it really got bad. And so I would be surprised. There's Kaylee Bryson just going through shot there, but I'd be surprised if we see too many changes here in this.
And this is almost the worst conditions because what's going to happen, this little bit of moisture actually brings the oil up out of the asphalt.
Right.
And all the rubber that's been dropped and all the oil that's been dropped now comes to the top of the surface and makes for a really, like you said, greasy track.
Mm-hmm. So just under 8 minutes to go as we take a look at a rather slow-going number 92. Everybody's being very cautious as Dollarhite is even being more cautious in XGT. He's parked it. Doesn't need to go anywhere. He's got the fastest time at the moment.
But I'm not seeing it raining more on that windshield. And he's not under a cover.
No, I think it stopped. Yeah, I do think.
But could they dry the line quick enough?
Yeah, with 7 minutes, you might want to go out for a quick, 2-minute run. Here's Lee Saunders. So it's official. It has stopped raining, and that's why Dollarhite is not getting out of the car. Here's Lee Saunders in his Viper. So now, with 7 minutes to go, we should get a last run for everybody where they at least get one flying lap. And it takes, the lap is 2:16, so a warm-up lap would be 3:16, and that would be a fast warm-up lap. So you haven't got too long. You're going to have one flyer out of this, aren't you?
Yeah,
maybe.
Somebody's going to run out there and try to be a hero, I think.
Of course. I don't think anybody's going to do anything spectacular.
So Will Rogers takes it in XGT now over Dollarhite.
Oh, yes, so there you go. Now Dollarhite will go out, I'm sure.
But look at Coffey in GT in third.
Yeah, very good. Ooh, that is impressive. Yeah, that's hugely impressive. Let's see what happens in SGT. Carlson leading it at the moment. Will Saunders overtake him? Not this lap. But he is now going for a fly with 6 minutes to go.
Now, the McAleenan says he's racing a Ford, but I think he's in a Lamborghini.
Now, Saunders has just gone quicker than Carlson. He's up to fifth, and he did a 2:24.6. So that was a good lap. Chris Coffey in third with that 2:21 in GT. So he's leading the way there, but he's right mixed in with the XGTs. So the man from Florida, the two-time champion in SGT, flying here at Austin.
We have seen a lot of Vipers today.
Yep. A lot of snakes in Texas.
That's true.
The Paglia just improved to 8th overall SGT. He's running in. Carlson in second in SGT. Can he improve? 6th at the moment, but that was a good lap from Michael Paglia from the West Coast. Katie Bryson, not where she needs to be, down in 11th. The current champion, or new champion.
Uh-oh, here he comes. He's like, I'm getting back out there. I'm going to be back on the top of this leaderboard in that Audi R8.
Oh, yeah. Anything you can do, I can do better. It's the old proverb, isn't it? So, down the long straight he goes. This is his out lap, effectively, but he'll have plenty of time to do it, but it will be just one flyer, won't it? By my estimations.
Well, they can finish their lap when the time runs out.
Yeah.
So he should be able to do.
Nip and tuck.
This next one should be his flyer.
Yeah, and then, but he won't get round again.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, to do another one. So, I mean, you know, we'll see. I think it's going to be one flyer, in and done. Scott Dollarhide then, coming out of 15. Winding himself up for a last attack at the pole for the GT classes. Rain almost everywhere around Austin. And it's not just approaching Austin City, it's now gone past the city itself, and it's also round to the south. So this is an intriguing end to proceedings here. Out of the last corner he comes for the flyer then. Now let's watch him. Scott Dollarhide heads towards Big Red.
But McAleenan has moved up there now.
Oh, that's a good lap. Yeah, that was a very impressive lap.
I thought he was in a Lamborghini, and he used to say he was in a Ford. Now he's in a Chevy.
Yeah, I mean, he's still quite an impressive way off the XGT time of Rogers. 5 seconds it has officially, so Rogers is flying, but McLaren's gone ahead of Dollarhide. But that, remember, was set in rather dubious conditions.
This is his flyer. Look at you can tell by the posture of the car.
Yep.
Let's see what happens here.
He's up at 8, 9, now 10, coming up now. Just see the white dot in the distance.
Somebody's ahead of him.
Yeah,
somebody's is that Saunders?
Could be. It is Lee Saunders.
So is Saunders, is he on his flyer, or is he going to give him some room?
It won't matter down the back straight. In fact, it'll help him. He needs to try and clear him if he can.
Yeah, but he might
he won't do. He might,
might be a little bit of a tow, but I don't know if he can get there. That big V10 of that Dodge Viper.
Yeah, I don't think he's close enough to get a decent... No, he's not going to get a tow. Hampton ahead of him. So coming down into 12. Now where he's got to be careful, Scott Dollarhide, is he doesn't get stuck behind these guys at 13, because that is where you really slow down. 13 and 14 are pretty slow, and there's not a lot of room to overtake, and you can lose time quickly here in this section. He wants to get past them at 15, if not before, and you can see he's looking desperate to do just that. Goes to the inside at 15, does make the move, and that was smart racing from Scott Dollarhide. He dispenses with Lee Saunders, now goes into the triple apex at 16, 17, and 18. 2 minutes on the board. He should get by and go for another flyer, actually. So he's got that prerogative if the tyres are with him. Because with 2 minutes to go, he's absolutely got another chance of a flyer. Should he get past Coffey and McClellan? We'll find out now. Dollarhide does improve to second place behind Will Rogers with a 207.98, but now we'll go for one more flyer with 1 minute and 30 seconds to go.
I can't believe Will Rogers was able to put a lap like that down in that huge horsepower rear-wheel drive no grip XGT car.
Yeah, easy for you to say. Lee Saunders in 5th position, and now bouncing over the curves. He really is pushing that car hard now, chasing his own 207.9, and he's the closest man to Rogers. The gap now just 1.2 seconds. It was 5 between himself and McClellan, who might just lose some more places. Who else could get a flyer in at this point, I wonder? Down to 11. Key corner here. Smooth in, smooth out, but hard on the power early. And that's not bad. Save that, because if you'd gone any wider, he wouldn't have been able to get on the gas, because he got a slip slide going on, but he just held that nicely, and that might just put him in a good position. 30 seconds to go on the board, but Dollarhide will get to finish this lap. Important braking into 12. It's a little ripply and bumpy after Formula One, and the heavy cars of WEC ripple up the surface. Doesn't matter how old or young it is, that's a trait of all modern circuits. The braking just literally ripples the asphalt up. Big mistake out of 13, but he's still on it. You can tell he's on a quick one. Takes a higher line this time at 15. He's pushing.
He's had no traffic in front of him.
Yep.
And the checker flag is out, so they can finish the lap that they're on, ladies and gentlemen.
And he's just going to avoid the heavy rain that's in the distance, but what an interesting session. Started wet, dried out, they went faster. Rogers took the pole with 2:06.7. Dollar Height trying to improve. Has he got it? We're back to find out. I don't think so. And Dollar Height does get it. Yes, 2:06.5, only just, but he just got it. I thought that mistake at 13 might have slowed him down, but he does it by 0.158. Well done.
Now that was exciting,
wasn't it? I love that. I actually didn't think he got that, but I was only 0.158 off. That is great. So Will Rogers will start on the front row, having held the provisional pole for a long time. Michael McLennan is third, and Ken Sutherland is fourth. Chris Coffey, fifth. John Moore, sixth, and Lee Saunders. Good session.
Yeah.
Well, that was a great session, and with two great Trans Am sessions in that last hour, great way to finish the day. My thanks to Ben Sissel and to all our guests today. We've had many, and it's been a super day at the track. We've got a full day of the final day of the season tomorrow for the Speed Tour. Jonathan Green and the rest of Greenlight Television, a great job done by them. We'll see you tomorrow, where we do it all again. Join us for the Speed Tour tomorrow.
I've been waiting for. Living the moment till I die. And I'm gonna change.